devotees clap. No, this is not generally accepted by them. Similarly, on the other day, I was listening from His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj. You might have heard him on the YouTubes and other things. He was in Chennai on the other day when he was explaining also. This is a Sanskriti trend. We have to do that always like that. Hare Krishna. So try to, all of you, apply this. I request you. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees from Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, today we are into 4th canto, 7th chapter, verse number 31. Before that, let me chant the Guru Pranam mantras. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mayam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sagagana Raghunathan Viram Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Radha Krishna Padam Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatrupyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitana Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lange digim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Jai Pataka Swami Namaha Acharya Pada Nitai Kapa Pradayane Gaura Katha Damadaya Nagara Grama Tharine. Goduli Dusarita Komala Gopavesham Gopala Sadai Ranugamyamanam Sayandane Pratigraham Pasubandhanartam Gacchanta Achyuta Shisham Pranatosmi Nityam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. Hare Krishna. So this particular verses what we are going through now is amazing verses. The simple reason is it's all prayers by various Devi Devatas and Brahma as well as Lord Shiva too. So why these prayers again and again in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Many people might question. As we see in this material world, every now and then we come across different type of sufferings and so much of calamities. All this eat our head and people are not able to remain rest. All that the prayers only can bring them back to the lotus feet of Krishna. So that's why all these prayers, if possible, one can memorize it, nothing like it. So almost the Bhagavatam is memorized, we can say that. Because there are so much of prayers. There is one separate book also by one devotee from Vrindavan. He has done that exclusive book on prayers from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So we'll move on to today's verse. As the yajna was disturbed by the associates of Lord Shiva, the entire arena is a mess now. So as they saw Lord Vishnu appearing there, all the Devi Devatas, then Brahmaji, Shivji, all got up from their seat and started respecting and glorifying Lord Vishnu. So here Brahma is glorifying Naitat Swarupam Bhavato Sau Padartha Veda Grahai Purusho Yavad Dikshet janasya chartasya gunasya chashrayo maya maya vayati rikto matastvam. So, as we see here, the third line is very, very crucial in this shloka, because each and every shloka is important and every line of the shloka is also important, but there are some very attractive and creamy line which comes in between the prayers too. Okay, let's get into the shloka once again. Brahmo vacha naita surupam bhavato so padartha vedagrahai purusho yavad dikshet janasya chartasya gunasya chashrayo maya mayadvayati rikto matastvam. Okay, somebody can do the synonyms, translation, purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Tuma Mataji, you can read the synonyms. Shilpa Mataji, you can read the translation. And Vasudha Mataji, you can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji pranams. Synonyms. Brahma Huvacha, Lord Brahma said, Na, not, etat, this, swarupam, eternal form, bhavataha, your, asau, that other, pada artha, knowledge, bheda, different, granai, by the acquiring, purushaha, person, yavat, as long as, ikshet, wants to see, nanasya, of knowledge, cha, also, arthasya, of the objective, gunasya, of the instruments of knowledge, cha, also, ashrayaha, the basis, maya, mayat, from being made of material energy, Vyatiriktaha, distinct, mataha, regarded, tvam, you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mata.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, pranams.
Sorry, by slip of tongue, instead of jnanasya, I said janasya, but some other shloka came to my tongue. It's jnanasya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, pranams. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma said, My dear Lord, your personality and eternal form cannot be understood by any person who is trying to know you through the different processes of acquiring knowledge. Your position is always transcendental to the material creation, whereas the empiric attempt to understand you is material, as are its objectives and instruments. Hare Krishna. Pranams, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is said that the transcendental name, qualities, activities, paraphernalia, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood without our material senses. The attempt of the empiric philosophers to understand the absolute truth by speculation is always futile, because their process of understanding, their objective, and the instruments by which they try to understand the absolute truth are all material. The Lord is aprakrita, beyond the creation of the material world. This fact is also accepted by the great impersonalists Sankaracharya. Narayanaha paro
avyaktat andam avyakta sambhavam.
Narayana paro avyaktat andham avyakta sambhavam. Thank you, Prabhupada. Avyakta, or the original material cause, is beyond this material manifestation and is the cause of material world. Because Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond the material world, one cannot speculate upon him by any material method. One has to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by the transcendental method of Krishna consciousness. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only by devotional service can one understand the transcendental form of the Lord. The difference between the impersonalists and the personalists is that the impersonalists, limited by their speculative processes, cannot even approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the devotees please the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his transcendental loving service. Sevon Mukehi. Due to the service attitude of the devotee, the Lord is revealed to him. The Supreme Lord cannot be understood by materialistic persons, even though he is present before them. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna therefore condemns such materialists as mudhas. Mudha means rascal. It is said in the Gita, only rascals think of Lord Krishna as an ordinary person. They do not know what Lord Krishna's position is or what his transcendental potencies are. Unaware of his transcendental potencies, the impersonalists deride the person of Lord Krishna, whereas the devotees, by dint of their service attitude, can understand him as the personality of Godhead. In the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna also confirmed that it is very difficult to understand the personality of the Lord. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This particular sloka itself has got so much of message, and especially Prabhupada has given the purports very nectarian, very nectarian. See, Brahma, being the first living being, knows about the Lord much more than anyone else. But again, he says it's beyond my conception. That's why he's deriding the empirical guys. Because the empirical guys, what they try to do is they derive the form of the Lord with their limited capacity and speculation. And that too, they have the limitation because they are able to think of only material things. Because their knowledge is not beyond and their intelligence does not go beyond that. We can take a very good example in this case. When the exam hall, when the question papers are given, a few set of boys who studied very well according to the books, right? But one or two questions when it comes out of books, then they struggle a lot because their preparation is very limited and they have got some restriction to think. So they cannot utilize their intelligence more than that. But whereas, let us go to the empirical and the devotees. So devotees, they are not restricted to material things because there is a spiritual realm and there is a creator. So because of that, they can widen their thinking using their intelligence. And again, they will not derive things like an empirical guy. That's why the empirical guys are derided. Why? Because they have complete limitation and they are called as mudaha. Because mudaha means there is no knowledge, practically ignorant. So coming back to the exam hall, there are set of boys who would have prepared much more than the book, who might be aware of outside the books also. Such a person, when such questions comes, they will be able to answer those tough questions which are not in the book. That's why don't be a bookworm in the olden days, they used to say in my house. My father and mother, they used to say, don't be a bookworm. So try to go out of books, try to understand things. So this is the way that boy, intelligent boy, he can perform all the questions with ease. Similarly, coming back to our empirical guys and devotees, we can understand that devotees have certain special mercy of the Lord because their intelligence is supplied or awarded by the Lord. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. So naturally, tesham satata yuktanam, as they are always in connection with the Lord is pleased. And the Lord is giving the additional comfort life. Comfort life means knowledge. So that's why that buddhi, intelligence is used. But whereas empirical guys, they do not accept the form also, and they have their own imaginations. So if somebody is not having knowledge, at least they have to listen to others who have learned and those who are completely full of knowledge. So this is a problem with this. Again, when we come to the empirical ones, they are all depending on their senses. Again, senses have got, we know that what are the defects in the senses? One is committing mistakes, cheating propensity, then illusion, and fourth one is full of Yeah, defects. What is that? Every organ has got some defects, right? After some time, the eyes are not visible, right? Ears are not hearing. So the organs are also having defects, practical impairment, we say that now. So like that, here we have to understand when we try to utilize our senses, we fail miserably because the Lord is beyond our senses. That's why he is not a he cannot be understood by our normal material things. So as Brahma is trying to explain further, it's very interesting because knowledge acquiring senses, right? When it is tried with their own, then it is impossible. If you look at Sripad Adi Shankaracharya, though we say he is a Mayavadi, and he has done so many wonderful things. Initially, to divert the public from the Shunya, he did certain things, but they are branded like this. But Shankaracharya finally explained how Narayana is the Supreme. And he has done so many glorification of Lord Sri Krishna as well. And he has done very special to Lord Jagannath also. The Jagannath Ashtakam, what we are reciting, is composed by Sripada Shankaracharya. So this way, that great Acharya, what does he say? Narayana Paro Avyaktat. So what does it mean? This is always Prabhupada quotes. The next portion also here he quoted, Andam Avyakta Sambhavam. Andam means what? The material world. Avyakta Sambhavam. Vyaktam Avyakta, right? So that means how it is created, how the happening comes, because there is a creator. And who is that creator? And his name is Narayana. He is unparalleled. Again, he explains in the same verse, further he explains, after the annihilation also, someone remains. Not Shiva, not Brahma, only Vishnu. So why? Because all the created things, all the matter, everything goes and settles down in his tongue. Clear? So this way, again, when we talk about Vishnu, he is the Purusha incarnations of Lord Shri Krishna. So that way, Narayana Para Avyakta, that means there is only one who remained before the creation, and there is only one who will remain after the annihilation too. That's why any effort to speculate on the Lord with our limited knowledge of material things, it will be a failure only. That's why all the scientists, they are not able to achieve it. One simple thing we have to understand here is, and it's recommended by Krishna himself. So he has summarized everything in the 18th chapter, and especially this verse number 1855 is always amazing. Prabhupada always used to quote in his lecture also, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati Yavan Echasmi Tattvataha Tato Mam Tattva Jignasa Tatma Jnatva Tattvato Jnatva Vishate Tad Anantaram. See, this verse, we have to memorize it. It's a very important verse. Okay, what the translation goes. One can understand me as I am, as a personality of Godhead. That means, if you understand Krishna, what should be your understanding? He is a supreme personality of God. If that is short, then your understanding is zero. So then knowledge is also not Purnam. But somebody is able to understand and gain the knowledge, and they understood what finally? Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sri Krishna only. Then the knowledge is perfect. So, and how to achieve it? Again, Krishna says, only, the word comes only by devotional service. Because the Lord is a person and he wants everybody to interact with him, not turning our face. Vimukasya dosha buddhya. You remember that verse? So there it is explained, Vimukasya dosha buddhya, we are turning our face away from the Lord. This is a dangerous situation. The moment somebody look at Krishna and start exchanging, he is ready to reciprocate again with him. So this is the Lord's beauty. And the Lord is always merciful. This is the reason. So, and when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion. See, they emphasize. See, I'll tell you, these verses are emphatic words. Why? Because only by such devotion he can enter into the kingdom of God. So, as we see here, again, Krishna also says only by devotion one can understand him, otherwise impossible. So further in the purport also, it is explained impersonalists and the devotees, how they are differing. So impersonalists have the limitations, as I explained earlier. They try to do speculative process, but unfortunately, they cannot approach the Lord at all. Why? Because they are trying to compare things in the material world, but the Lord is not the normal material thing, right? So he is beyond matter. So that's why he is called a Satchidananda Vigraha. So understand the form of the Lord, one should try to follow the footsteps of Brahmaji and so on. Okay, in the Bhagavatam also, what Brahmaji says after he was defeated by Krishna's energy, right? This is another important verse. 10:14:38. Can you open it, Mataji? 10:14:38. So Brahma's prayers again in the 14th chapter of 10th canto. What does he say here? Jananta eva janantu kim bahutya name prabhu manaso vapusho vacho vaibhavam tava gocharaha. Someone can read the translation, please.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think that way. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. Oh my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulence are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body and words.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Now we
Dandavat
can
Prabhuji.
understand how Brahma speaks. So our senses are always defective, and our mind is filled with so many matter, and the body is also made up of matter. And the words we do not know how to speak because we do not have the brain or the knowledge. So, like this, when Brahma himself says how one can claim, oh, I have understood Krishna, that is a complete wrong statement. So, coming back to our today's purport again, wherein it is explained further. Unless one serves the Lord, one cannot understand the Lord. It's very simple. See, I'll tell you, you meet someone in the train or in the flight. What happens? You take his number, you talk to him, right? You understand him to some extent. These are all only material examples. Don't take it for granted. So again, when we try to move with him, when we interact with him, when we talk to him for a few days, few months, then slowly we understand it. Then automatically we create a bonding on that, right? Sorry, this is simply a material example. But when it comes to the Lord, what does it say in Nectar of Devotion? Sevon mukhoki jihvad. Sevon mukhehi jihvad. So one should do the service to the Lord. What type of service? With the wonderful words, the wonderful prayers, and with their body too. So all these things put together is called as Shravanam Kirtanam, 9 type of devotion. So as we do that, the Lord is pleased. So here we have to understand only the way to understand the Lord is devotion and service. But there are certain mudas who try to understand and they fail miserably, as we saw the empirical people and others. So here Bhagavad Gita condemns them as mudaha. So the topmost word is called the muda, the fools and rascals. That's what Prabhupada uses the word. So, since they do not know about the transcendental potencies, that is the problem. See, Satchidananda Vigraha explains in detail the position of Lord Krishna's form. If somebody is not aware of it, it is purely ignorance. That's why empirical people try to deride Krishna. Avajananti mamudaha manusham tanumashritam. So such a person understands the Lord as like himself as a human being. So even in the Bhagavatam also it says Kritavan kilakarmani saharamena keshava atimatyani bhagavan gudaha kapata manushaha. He comes under the cover of a human being. Because if he comes in the four arms, they cannot perceive it. So what is simpler, easiest for them is to appear like them. The original form of Krishna is also the same. So this way, the devotee can understand the Lord by simple services to the Lord. And it's also for a common man or an empirical people, it's very difficult to understand the personality of Godhead. So moving on to the verse number 39, but 32. Indra Vacha. So next one who comes in the queue is Indra Vacha. You might have seen, no, when there is some sannyasi comes, no, many people go in the queue and offer obeisance, right? So here also the Lord has come, all the Devi Devatas come in a queue, right? Here Indra is praising the Lord. Idam Yachuta Vishwabhavanam Papurananda Karam Manodrisham Suravidvit Kshapanaihi Udayudaihi Ujadhandaihi Upapannam Ashtabhihi Indrovacha Idamapyachuta Vishwabhavanam Vapurananda Karam Manodrisham Suravidvit Kshapanaihi Udayudaihi Ujadandair Upapannamashtabhihi. Yes, please.
Hare
Synonyms.
Krishna. Shobha Mataji, you read the synonyms. Sharmila Mataji, the translation. And Archana Mataji, the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Matajis and Prabhujis, synonyms by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Indra Uvacha, King Indra said, Idam, this api, certainly, Achyuta, O fallible one, Vishwa Bhavanam, for all the welfare of the universe, Vapuhu, transcendental form, Anandakaram, a cause of pleasure, Manahatrasham, to the mind and the eye, Suravidvit, envious of your devotees, Shapanahi, by punishment, Udhayudhaihi, with uplifted weapon, Bhujadhandaihi, with arms, Upapannam, possessed of, Ashtabhihi, with 8. Haribol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Indra said, My dear Lord, your transcendental form with 8 hands and weapons in each of them appears for the welfare of the entire universe, and it is very pleasing to the mind and eyes. In such a form, your Lordship is always prepared to punish the demons who are envious of your devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is generally understood from the revealed scriptures that Lord Vishnu appears with 4 hands. But in this particular sacrificial arena, Lord Vishnu arrived with 8 hands. King Indra said, even though we are accustomed to see your 4-handed Vishnu form, this appearance with 8 hands is as real as the 4-handed form. As Lord Brahma had said, to realize the transcendental form of the Lord is beyond the power of the senses. In reply to that statement by Brahma, King Indra said that even though the transcendental form of the Lord is not perceivable by the material senses, his activities and his transcendental form can be understood. The Lord's uncommon features, uncommon activities, and uncommon beauty can be perceived even by an ordinary man. For example, when Lord Krishna appeared just like a 6 or 7-year-old boy in Vrindavana, he was approached by the residents there. There were torrents of rain, and the Lord saved the residents of Vrindavana by lifting Govardhana hill and resting it on the little finger of his left hand for 7 days. This uncommon feature of the Lord should convince even materialistic person who want to speculate to the limit of their material senses. The activities of the Lord are pleasing to experimental vision also, but impersonalists will not believe in his identity because they study the personality of Lord by comparing their personality to his. Because men in this material world cannot lift a hill, they do not believe that Lord can lift one. They accept the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam to be allegorical, and they try to interpret them in their own way. But actually, the Lord lifted the hill in the presence of all the inhabitants of Vrindavana, as corroborated by great acharyas and authors like Vyasadeva and Narada. Everything about the Lord, his activities, pastimes, and uncommon features should be accepted as is, and in this way, even in our present condition, we can understand the Lord. In the instant hearing, King Indra confirmed, "Your presence with 8 hands is as good as your presence with 4 hands. There is no doubt about it." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So as we see here again, Brahma also confirms it. It's not possible for us to understand him in the Brahma Samhita too. Advaitam achyutam anadim ananta rupam adhyam purana purusham navayovanamcha Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhaktau govindamadi purusham samaham bhajami. So what does he say? I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure, unalloyed devotion of the soul. See, Bhaktya Mama Vijanati. And what does it say? Who is without a second? He is the only one. Who is not subject to decay, right? And what does it say? He is without a beginning and whose forms are endless. Who is the beginning? And the eternal Purusha, he is a person. What does he say? He is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. So it explains very clearly Brahma is more clear than anybody else because he has understood the Lord to a greater extent, being the first living being. So let us get into that purport and the translation. As we see here, Indra starts explaining it. Your transcendental forms with 8 arms. This is a very rare thing. Many of you might not have darshan of the Lord with 8 arms. And each and every hand has a weapon. And the weapons are having dual purpose: to annihilate the miscreants and to protect the welfare of the entire universe. It is very pleasing to the mind and eyes. See, that's what. See, when you look at the form, it should be always pleasing. We go to the temple, but how far we focus it, how far our mind is fixed on the beautiful form. The moment we come out, we must be able to chew that wonderful form of the Lord in our eyes. So in such a form, your Lordship is always prepared to punish the demons who are envious of the devotee. Clear? Then let us get into the purport. Purport was, what does it say? It's generally understood the revealed scriptures, Lord Vishnu appears with 4 hands. Prabhupada makes it very clear. But in this particular sacrificial arena, Lord Vishnu arrived with 8 hands. So what King Indra says, even though we are accustomed to see the 4-armed form, this appearance 8 form is as real as the 4-armed form. Okay, so anybody can say those who have seen the 4-armed form of the Lord, especially from
gopis of Vrindavan.
The
gopis of Vrindavan.
No, Mata, the 8-armed form of the Lord Vishnu.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Sri Chaitanya.
6.
He showed
6. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Shadbhuj.
Yeah. So 8 arms, unless who are from South India, those who have visited many temples. I will tell you that. Let us not keep it in suspense. Let me make it here. Take down the Divya Desham called Kanchipuram. And in Kanchipuram, there is one special temple constructed by anybody has visited Kanchipuram?
Ashtabhuja Perumal.
Yeah, exactly. Who is that voice? Let me. Which Mataji? Who said that?
Archana Mataji said. Archana Sunil Kumar Mataji.
He had been having darshan of that Lord?
No, my grandmother has been. She has visited. So
Amazing. We had a darshan few times. Okay. Let us try to understand how the Lord is looking like. So as I told you, the temple was constructed in 1070 years. Okay. That means almost now 1000 plus years, right? So it was constructed by Chola kings. Later on, the Pallava kingdom, that dynasty renovated the temple. And later on, another set of, what is it called? I forgot the kingdom. So they also built that and renovated the Tirumala Tirupati temple also. Okay, coming back to the Kanchipuram. So Kanchipuram has got 14 Divya Deshams because according to the Sri Vaishnavism, there are 108 Divya Deshams, including the Lord's abode of Vaikuntha and Goloka. Okay, so this Vishnu temple is very, very rare beauty of the Lord. And especially this temple has been, on the deity has been glorified by two acharyas of the Sri Vaishnavism. One is Periyalvar, one is Tirumangai Alvar. Generally, how they call the temple as a Divya Desham, try to understand. In Sri Vaishnavism, there are 12 Alvars, and any Alvars have gone to this temple and glorified the Lord, then it's called as Mangala Sasanam. So they glorify the Lord, it's called as Sanskrit Mangala Sasanam. So such a temple is given a title called as Divya Desham. So this temple also visited by Periyalvar. Many of you know who is Periyalvar? Sri Andal Nachiyar's father. Yeah. So not next month, coming 15th onwards, the Margasirish Mass starts, and we are going to glorify Sri Andal Nachiyar through her wonderful prayers called as Tirupavai. Those who are from Tamil Nadu, they may know more about it. But interestingly, this has been done on a grand scale in Dubai for many, many years. Still, we are continuing it. Earlier, we used to go to houses in the early mornings and do this. And after the corona, we started the house visit. Because of the corona, we stopped it for 2-3 years. Then we restarted it. Now, almost for the last 2-3 years, we are visiting Dubai and doing the Mangalarti in various houses, recite this Tirupavai also. And interestingly, if you are all ready to listen to that, we try to pick up many Bhagavatam shlokas connected to the Tirupavai, because Andal Nachiyar does it in a replica of Vrindavana mood in Srivilliputtur in Tamil Nadu. So, coming back to that, the Alvars. So all these Alvars have done so much to that. So this way, this temple is glorified, and the Lord gives a very wonderful darshan with his 8 arms. So let us try to understand what are the weapons in his hand. So the Lord possesses 8 weapons in his hands, and the importance of these weapons are also mentioned here. 1 minute. I missed out the references. Oh. It's very difficult to remember eight things, so I picked up from that. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to search it. Yeah. The 8 different weapons are explained here. It is mace. One minute.
Shall I share the screen, Prabhuji, if you can give me the reference number?
I picked up you can share it also. Good. That's good. Thank you. Because I am searching it, I am not getting it. I am going up and down.
But do you have the reference number, Prabhuji, or should I?
Yeah, you can. Can you share it on the screen?
Prabhuji, what's the reference number?
No, there is no shloka or anything. This is only the history of the temple history. Wait. I was reading it yesterday. Today I have misplaced it.
Oh, Suma Mataji has shared something.
Wait. I got it. The 8 hands are sported to have a sword, a shield, a mace, a bow, arrow, lotus, conch, and chakra. So the common thing which we see the 4-armed form is conch and chakra and a lotus, right? And here bow and arrow is also there, mace is there, shield is there, and sword is there. So these are the 8-armed form of the Lord Vishnu. So it's called as Ashtabhuja Vishnu. It's a very, very powerful temple. Then again, the importance here it's mentioned here is, according to Sri Vaishnavism, it is explained the Lord takes the weapons and utilize it or use it when it comes to demons to finish them off. And interestingly, the same weapon are also coming to the protection of the devotees, because they are all associates of the Lord. So naturally, when the Lord's devotees are in danger, they go to the rescue of the devotees. A very good example, you all know that. What is that? Who is that? The associate of the Lord. Out of this 8 items, one went to the protection of his devotee, Lord's devotee, Ambarish Maharaj.
Ambarish.
Sudarshan, Prabhu.
Chakra. Chakra.
Okay. So like that, even the case of what is his name, Gajendra also, the Sudarshana went to protect. Like that, there are so many occasions. So this way, this is a very rare temple. You can have the darshan of that in Kanchipuram. Okay. So coming back to this verse, 8-armed form of the Lord. Okay. As Lord Brahma has said, the realization transcendental is beyond our senses. In reply to the statement, King Indra said that even though the transcendental form of the Lord is not perceivable by the material senses, his activities and transcendental forms can be understood. That means the Lord's form is beyond our capacity. See, I'll tell you, when we come to the Bhagavad Gita in the 11th chapter, Arjuna wanted to see the Lord in the opulent form. And Lord said, see, you want to see, but you cannot see it. When it was said, it was confusing. Then he said, I will give you a special chakshu. What is that? Divya chakshu. Dadami divya chakshu. So as soon as the Lord endowed with him with that special eyes, he was able to see the Virat Rup. So like that, the Lord cannot be understood with our limited senses. The Lord's uncommon features, uncommon activities, and uncommon beauty can be perceived even by ordinary man. How? Because of the pure love for the Lord. I'll tell you one good example is the Brajavasis, who are able to see the Lord with all these things, right? Uncommon activities they could see, uncommon features also they could see, uncommon form also, right? What are the uncommon activities? Killing, Kaliya. Uncommon features, right? When the Lord appeared in the cowherd boy. It's a very rare feature, right? Then again, uncommon beauty. You all know that, how beautiful the Lord is. And they could see the Lord's beauty every now and then. So he was approached by residents there. There were torrents of rain, and the Lord lifted the Govardhana hill. See, this is an uncommon activity. See, when we say that uncommon activity, again, the same sloka we can take it also. Kratavan kila karmani saharamena keshava ati martyani bhagavan. Ati martyani means he has done something uncommon, and he has done some what is that called, superhuman activity, right? So that way, the Lord is always capable of doing all these things. He lifted the Govardhan for 7 full days when he was a small boy. So this way, one should understand the Lord's opulence are unlimited, and the Lord's form is always eternal, and it is full of transcendence. So everything about the Lord, his activity, pastimes, and uncommon features should be accepted as is. Why this word is here? Because one should have the surrendering mood. Surrendering mood is there, automatically they can understand the Lord. But whereas the demons, they don't have the surrendering mood, then they are not able to accept the Lord's supremacy. That's why avajananti mamudaha. So here Prabhupada writes, even in the present condition, we can understand the Lord. In the instance here, the King Indra confirmed, your presence with 8 hands is as good as your presence with 4 hands. There is no doubt about it. Clear? Hare Krishna. So moving on to the last verse today. Patniye uchuhu. Because here uchuhu means plural. All of you remember it. Uvacha means singular. Uchuhu means plural. Patniya means the wives. Okay. Yagyoyam tava yajanaya kena sushto vidvastaha pasupati nadhya daksha kopat tamnastvam shava shayanabha shantamedham yajnatman nalina rucha drisha punihi. Okay. Patnya uchuhu yajnoyam tava yajanaya kena shrishto vidvastaha pasupati nadhya daksha kopat. Pasupati can understand. So when we read the sloka also we can understand the translation slowly. Tam nastvam shava shayanabha shantadmedam yajnatman nalina rucha drisha punihi. Hare Krishna. You can read
Hare
it.
Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Barnali Mataji, you can read the synonyms. Sarika Mataji translation and the purport I'll read. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Patnya Uchu, the wives of the executors of the sacrifice said, Yagna, the sacrifice, I am this, Tava, your, Yagnaya, worshipping, Kena, by Brahma, Shrishta, arranged, Vidvasta, devastated, Pashupatina, the Lord Shiva, by Lord Shiva, Adya, today, Dakshakopat, from anger at the Daksha, Tam, it, na, our, Tvam, you, Savasayana, dead bodies, Abha, like, Santamedham, the still sacrificial animals, Yagna Atman, O Lord of sacrifice, Nalina, lotus, Rucha, beautiful, Drisha, by the vision of your eyes, Punihi, sanctify. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat Pranams, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The wives of the performers of the sacrifice said, My dear Lord, this sacrifice was arranged under the instruction of Brahma, but unfortunately Lord Shiva, being angry at Daksha, devastated the entire scene. And because of his anger, the animals meant for the sacrifice are lying dead. Therefore, the preparations of the yajna have been lost. Now, by the glance of your lotus eyes, the sanctity of this sacrificial arena may be again invoked. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Animals were offered in sacrifice in order to give them renewed life. That was the purpose of having animals there. Offering an animal in sacrifice and giving him renewed life was the evidence of the strength of chanting mantras. Unfortunately, when Daksha's sacrifice was devastated by Lord Shiva, some of the animals were killed. One was killed just to replace the head of Daksha. Their bodies were lying about, and the sacrificial arena was turned into a crematorium. Thus, the real purpose of yajna was lost. Lord Vishnu, being the ultimate objective of such sacrificial ceremonies, was requested by the wives of the priests to glance over the yajna arena with his causeless mercy so that the routine work of the yajna might be continued. The purport here is that animals should not be unnecessarily killed. They were used to prove the strength of the mantras and were to have been rejuvenated by the use of the mantras. They should not have been killed as they were by Lord Shiva to replace the head of Daksha with an animal's head. It was pleasing to see an animal sacrificed and rejuvenated, and that pleasing atmosphere had been lost. The wives of the priests requested that the animals be brought back to life by the glance of Lord Vishnu to make a pleasing yajna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So as we read this verse, how women were so brilliant and intelligent. Many places we have seen the wives are very brilliant. Not one instance in the Bhagavatam, there are so many places. When we go to the Trivikrama, that is Vamana Charitra, Bali Maharaj, he was talking to the Lord and he offered 3 paths, right? At that time, when he was giving the charity, the wife has to come and pour water. You know that, right? This is our Vedic ritual when it is performed. Any ritual performed with the men folk is not complete unless the wife comes and pours water. Even the charity also, whatever he gives. So, Bali Maharaj wife, anybody knows her name? Hare Krishna.
Kayadu,
No, Kayadu is mother of Prahlad.
Prahlad. Tara, I think, Prabhu.
Right.
Bali's wife, Tara.
No. Vindyavali.
Vidyavali.
Vidyavali, okay.
Yeah, okay, Hare Krishna. So Vindyavali, she poured water when Bali Maharaj was giving the charity. So again, when the same Bali Maharaj was giving the charity, 2 steps were taken away by the Lord became Trivikrama. At each and every stage, his name is getting new names, right? When he came as a Brahmana, he was called as what? Vamana.
Vamana.
Brahmana Bhai, sorry. When he came as a Brahmana Bhai, his name was Vamana. When he appeared first, as a son of Kashyapa and Aditi, he was called as Upendra, then Vamana, then became Trivikrama. So, when the Lord occupied through 2 steps all the entire creation, there was nothing left out. Then immediately, he was looking at Bali Maharaj and tied him with the Varuna rope. At that time, he was telling, I have given some promise. I come from a Kshatriya community. I have to fulfill my promise. Somehow I'll do it. So now you can place your 3rd step on my head. He said that. Then Lord smiled. And interestingly, Vindhyavali equipped. What does she say now? Oh, my dear king, how come he can say my head? The body is also given by the Lord. Have you forgotten that? Still also your ego is there. Like that, the verses comes. If you go through the Bhagavatam, you can understand. It comes in the 8th canto, chapter number 22. Chapter 22 or 23, something like that. So there you can understand very wisely she talks. Right? The husband forgot, the body is given by the Lord, he has forgotten. So she reminding. Here also, all the priest wives were so intelligent, Brahmana Patnis, you can call them as. So how wise they are, as we see in the Vrindavan also, the Brahmana Patnis were very wise to understand Krishna so quickly, because they're all devotees. But unfortunately, the Brahmana could not understand. So here, the yajna performance done by the Prohit or whoever it is, his wives are praying to the Lord. and how they are very, very brilliant. My dear Lord, the sacrifice was arranged under the instructions of Brahma. That's one point. And what do they say? Unfortunately, Lord Shiva destroyed it at the anger of Daksha. So like this, the animals were killed. Because example Prabhupada gives in the purport. To fix a head for Daksha, one goat head was fixed on Daksha. Okay. That's why he chanted the Chamakam Rudram. Sanchame, Priyashchame, Kamaschame, Saumanasachame, Badranchame, Shreyaschame. So this comes in the Gayatri Upanishad. So therefore, the preparation of Yajna has been lost. Preparations, all the preparations are lost. Why? Because it is contaminated because of the situation. So now they are requesting the Lord. They are not requesting Brahma or anybody. How wise they are. By the glance of your lotus eyes, the sanctity of the sacrificial yajna may be invoked. As we see further also, mantras have got so much of strength, right? As we see, the mantras are so powerful, they can kill a demon also by the mantras. Anybody remembers the instance? The king Vena was killed by the Brahmanas by mantra force. Can you believe it? Because King Vena was a demonic king. Because he is troubling all the Brahmanas and the public. So the Brahmanas or the ministers, they started chanting the mantra so powerfully, and this Vena was pulled down. Then later on they turned the thigh and the shoulder, and Prithu Maharaj and his wife Archi came. Both Vishnu and Lakshmi came in the form. Okay, so coming back to this, here the mantras are so powerful. Unfortunately, Daksha sacrifice was devastated by Lord Shiva. So that is explained here. Lord Vishnu being the ultimate objective of such sacrificial ceremonies. What does it mean? He is the Yajneshwara. And interestingly, in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, I am this, that, everything. And finally, what does he say? I am everything in the Yajnashala. This shloka comes from the 9th chapter. You can take it out, Mataji. Can you show that? 9:16. Aham kraturaham yajnaha swataham aham aushadam mantroham ahame vajyam aham agniraham hutam. Somebody can read the translation. These are the slokas you can easily memorize. There are so many ahams it comes in that. Read the translation. Shilpa Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Hare Krishna.
So everything is Krishna himself. So the Brahmana Patnis are very, very wonderful. What is that? Very, very wonderfully brilliant. So they were able to quickly say this, right? So when they requested the Lord to throw his glance. See, I'll tell you, when the Lord's glance is thrown, everything perishes, right? Where is that one shloka from the Kunti Maharani? There is one interesting shloka from the Kunti Maharani prayers, right? Tava vikshitaihi ime janapadaha svirdaha swapak kaushadi virudaha vanadri nadi udanvanto kiedante tava vikshitaihi. Wherein Kunti Maharani says the entire tract of land, Bhumi was flourishing everything because you and Balram were walking on the planet and everything became so flourishing and everything was blooming like anything. So here also the same thing, the Lord brings everything back to position. So as we see here, Yajneshwara, there are so many verses also again, Bhoktaram Nigyatasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Surdam. So that first portion will be applicable here, Bhoktaram Nigyatasam. So this is very important. And the second paragraph, it explains Lord Vishnu, the ultimate objective. Wise of glance to Yajnashala to bring it back to position. Because his causeless mercy is very important. So the yajna can be continued. Because it's polluted, it has to be continued. So it has to be purified. Only Vishnu can purify it, right? So the purport is very clear. Animals are meant for right? To check the power of the mantras. And at the same time, the animals are rejuvenated and it gets a new way of life. It's not for purpose of eating or anything, the animals are killed in the yajna. But unfortunately, people misinterpret it and do so many things. And they say, oh, you killed the animal in the yajna, so we can eat it. Like that, the people. So these are all ignorant people and mudas, we can say that. So finally, in such a situation, here we can understand the Patnis are requesting the Lord to bring back the sanctity of the yajna arena. So altogether, we saw three different prayers from three different personalities. One is Brahmaji. Brahmaji is explaining the Lord's wonderful form, wherein only bhakti is the primary thing. Any speculation will not work. Then Indra glorifies the Lord, wherein he glorifies the Lord based on his wonderful form with 8 arms. And these 8 arms are also explained very well in the purport. And we connected one wonderful temple in South India, Kanchipuram. So when we say Kanchipuram, everybody remembers it only for the silk sari, correct? So, but there are 14 wonderful Divya Desham temples, all have got so many histories around. There is a Pandava Duta temple also, another wonderful temple. But of all the temples, the topmost is Varadaraja temple, wherein the Ativaradar came after 45 years from the temple tank. You all have visited that darshan you had? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. So this way, we have to understand Indra's glorification of 8 arms is done. And finally, the arena is sanctified and purified by the glance of the Lord as requested by the Prohit wives. Hare Krishna. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpadrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha. Patitanam.
Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Anantakoti.
Now it's time
Krishna.
for question and answers. Do we have some time? Shilpa Mataji, do you have some time for question and answers?
Yes, Prabhuji, we do have time.
Yeah. If there are any questions, let me try to answer. Any comments, any points?
Devotees can ask questions by raising their hands, please. Prabhuji, in Kanchipuram, you mentioned a few temples. So, not only in Kanchipuram, I mean, in Tamil Nadu, there are many, many ancient temples, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Could you mention a few? Because if one has to go for darshan, then one can go to Tamil Nadu and do different temples. Is it possible, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So it's possible. Actually, we are also helping devotees coming from different parts of the world to take them around. We do that also because now we are retired. We are settled in Chennai. We were in Dubai. So since we are settled down in Chennai, those devotees coming from Middle East and other places, we take them to wonderful ancient temples with the history and we are explaining everything to them.
The temples of Tamil Nadu, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And how many days does that take, Prabhu?
No, entire Tamil Nadu means you need at least 14-15 days.
Oh, okay.
Minimum 14-15 days.
No, the trip that you take is how many days?
Because I always take them for 14 days. We visit almost around 70-80 temples.
Oh, okay.
Next time, think of us also, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe some of us can also join.
Yes, Prabhuji. Or if we can do a 5 or 6 days trip to have certain temples covered, Prabhu?
Somebody has shown the photo. Show that 8-armed form of the Lord. Who was sharing that?
Rohini Mataji, yes.
Rohini Mataji. Yeah. You can have the darshan. Ashtabhuja Vishnu. See, I'll tell you, in and around Tanjavur, you might have heard about it. Around 40 Divya Deshams are there, all glorified by Sri Vaishnava Acharyas. Then again, as I told you now, in Kanchipuram there are 14. Then when we go to Kerala, again it is 13 temples are there, all oldest Vishnu temple. Because the Pancha Pandavas, all the Pandavas had come there the Ajnatavas time, no? They all visited so many, and they established and installed so many murtis also. So that are all coming under the Divya Deshams.
Even in Kumbakonam, we have a lot.
Yeah. Are you from Kumbakonam?
No, Prabhuji, Srirangam. Srirangam is the first temple.
Hare Krishna. So actually, in and around Tanjavur, that's why I said around 40 Divya Deshams are there. And the first Divya Desham, according to the Sri Vaishnavism, is Sri Ranganatha Swami Sri Rangam. It was worshipped by Lord Rama and Vivaswan, right from Ikshvaku time. So the deities are very powerful. So and we keep on adding it, so wonderful temples are there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, which time of the year do you go on this yatras to south?
We go in August, Mataji. Because
Okay.
weather will be suitable for
Prabhuji, in Chennai itself, we have a lot, right? In Tirunirmalai, Tirunendravoor, Triplicane, Parthasarathi,
Mamallai
so
is
many, Tiruvallur, so
Yeah,
many things are there near Chennai.
We have never gone that side, Prabhuji. Think of us also next time.
Plan it out. If you come as a group, we can take them around.
Yeah, yes. We can ask them, ask the others also.
So then Nandini Mataji also can assist us.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Are you in Chennai, Mataji?
Yes, in Westmamblam.
Westmamblam?
Yes, yeah.
I don't know. I have not seen you, I think. Maybe I might have seen, I cannot remember. That's also possible.
I've seen Prabhuji. I've come once, I think, in Ramani Tunga Mataji's house.
Okay.
Yeah, you came for one lecture. I used to go to the Bhakti Diksha class to our house. You have come one day as a guest.
Yeah. Wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Now, Prabhuji, our first trip, we are going to Vrindavan in end of February. Ashish Prabhu is arranging for us.
Okay. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other questions? Any other comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, the temple that you're mentioning is Ikwakshu times temples. The idea, the deity.
The deities were worshipped by Ikshvaku, came to Lord Rama, and Lord Rama gave it to Vibhishana. Vibhishana went to Srirangam. It's a big story, Mataji, very interesting story. Lord Rama gave the deity and told him this was worshipped from Ikshvaku times like that. And because actually Vibhishana wanted to have the Lord to see all the time. Then Lord Rama said, don't worry about it. There is a wonderful deity which I have been worshipping. And right from Ikshvaku time it has been worshipped. You can take this deity and install in this Sri Lanka. But what happened now, while going at Srirangam, the Kaveri river, he saw the river. It was evening time, so he wanted to wash hands, everything, and do the Gayatri, everything. But he did not know if he places the deity, it will not move. He kept the deity and finished everything, did the Gayatri. He tried to lift, the Lord did not came along with him. Then the Lord said, do not worry, from here I will give you darshan. So the only temple where the deity is facing the south side. According to the Shastra, temple Shastra, no? Agama Vidhi, the deities cannot face south. But in Srirangam, Lord Ranganatha Swami is facing south. So this way, Lord Ranganatha is giving darshan to Vibhishana, who is in south, Sri Lanka.
Talking about Sri Lanka, Prabhuji, are there any special temples there? Because I'm planning to go through the Ramayan trail.
But if you go through because if you go to Sri Lanka, there are 14 temples, Lord Rama times.
Yeah.
The places are also there. Okay.
So, are these data available on Google, or can I bother you, or is it possible something?
You can be in touch with us. We can help you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful class today it was. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your association. Hare Krishna. Can we do end the class, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Mahamantra twice for the welfare of all.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Should I end the class, Prabhu? Hare Krishna. Prabhu, should I end the class? Prabhu's left. Yeah. Hare Krishna to all
Hare
devotees.
Krishna.
Thank
Thank
you so much for your
Hare
association.
Krishna.